Yeah. Say it again. Using the app. There's no app for dua. Oh, okay. What do you want to say?
I know.
Stop. Come on. Stop. Okay? No. Stop. Wait. Give me space here.
What did you say? Aptitude? Oh, attributes. Barakallah. Yes, that's one good thing. To make tawassul by using the attributes of Allah, the sifat of Allah, calling on Him by Ya Rahman, have mercy on me, right? Ya Kareem, be generous to me, right? Ya Aziz, let me find honor in my deen, right? Ya Ghani, let me only be. Yeah, this is excellent. Good. Who else? Yes, all of these are correct. You're talking about the adab of dua. Everyone's talking about adab. I'm looking for something specific, meaning. No, this is all adab. Everyone does that. Be sincere, yes. But there's one thing that you're all missing. Huh? He answered it. Al-ilhaq dua. Meaning, right, that you don't give up. Just because you made dua today once. You waited till after Asr, and you said, oh, somebody reminded me, make dua after Asr, Saturday Ijabah, right? And you made dua after Asr, and tonight you said, I want that sin gone. Right? And then you go and do the same sin again, right? And you say, oh, I made dua to Allah, Allah didn't answer my dua, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing, it's over. Right? No. You keep begging Allah. And you keep begging Allah. You have to be persistent and consistent in your dua. Don't think just because you made dua once, twice, 3, 5, 10 times, and it didn't come, and you say, oh, I'm not making dua anymore. No, you keep making dua. The same way that you went to school for 4 years to learn whatever you learned in those 4 years. Then you went to college to learn the same things again those 4 years. And then finally you went to your math. You didn't stop for the dunya. Every day you wake up to go to work, but why when we make dua to Allah, when we don't get it the first 5 days, we say, I'm not making dua anymore. No. Continue to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you need. And the thing that we need more than anything in this dunya is the mercy of Allah. To be free of sins as much as possible. To be free of sins as much as possible. So, we make dua. So we said so far what? The young guys can answer these two. What did we say so far?
Don't despair.
Don't despair.
Make dua.
Make dua, and we said one other thing. What was the other thing we said? No, not just be patient. We said that for every cure there's a disease. For every cure, for every disease is a cure. So now, another thing that happens for us sinful people, right, is that we at times, we have what we call al-husn al-dhan billah. Anyone know what that means? Husn al-dhan billah. No one knows what it means? Anyone? Husn al-dhan billah. What do you think it means?
Praying.
Huh?
Praying.
Praying is a part of husn al-dhan, yes. Husn al-dhan means that a person has good thoughts about Allah. Good hopes. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
Good thing?
Good, yeah.
It's a very important good thing. But the shaitan is tricky. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he misses a very important point about this. The shaitan is tricky. So some of us, we believe that husn al-dhan billah, it means that we just always think Allah is going to forgive us. Our thought about Allah is so good that we feel that we can do anything we want and Allah is going to forgive us. Is that true?
No.
Yes, it is true. It is true. But is that what husn al-dhan means? It doesn't mean that you do whatever you want to do and Allah is going to forgive you. If you have a son, a daughter, a friend, whatever, right? How do you increase in love? How does it, you say the child is beloved to the parent because the child is good, right? Yes, the parent will love the child even if the child is not good. But that child that, subhanAllah, always listens, doesn't do anything, the parent is going to love them extra. And when they do something wrong, guess what the parent is going to say? They say, oh no, he never does anything, mashallah. Easy to forgive. Well, Allah al-Mathal al-A'la, if we say that a person commits every sin in the book. And they say, oh, but Allah is merciful. You don't know, Akhi, Allah is merciful. I made istighfar 70 times today. I made tawbah 15 times today, and I'm still going to commit all these sins. That's not husnul dhan billah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that He is shadid al-iqab. Right? He's severe in punishment. Right? Allah ta'ala, He tells us that the Jahannam has been prepared for what? And He tells us and He describes to us what Jahannam is. But we say, we want to look at only Allah's rahmah, and we forget His intiqam. Right? That Allah is going to take revenge for those who don't obey Him properly. We want to look at the mercy and the kindness that He punishes us. It's by His justice. We deserve it. When Allah gives us so much good, and we use the good that Allah has given. Should you have husnul dhan billah? Yes. When you're struggling to do right. But not when you are enjoying the evil, and you say, but Allah is kind and merciful. Don't worry about me, akhi. This is not Islam. This is a belief that, is more in like to what the Christians believe. That, what they say about Jesus, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, they say, oh, He died for our sins, so, we can do everything. We can be Christian, go to the club Friday, Saturday, Sunday, go scream in church. Right? We can go drink, do whatever. Sunday we go scream in church and do some Hail Marys. And everything will be okay. Right? We're Muslims, subhanAllah. We don't have this belief. We believe we're sad. Then, as well, from that which we need to understand in regards to this disease that is common to all of us, is that for every sin, there is a punishment. Let that be the de facto point. Let it be known in your heart, right? That for every sin, there's a what? That punishment may come today or it might come tomorrow. It may come right now or it may come 40 years from now. Yeah? Some of the salaf, they used to say that when something would happen to them, some type of musibah, some type of difficulty, some type of calamity would come to them, they would say, I know what sin I did 40 years before that I'm being punished for right now. So sometimes we think that we escaped. I got away with that. Allah let me slide with that one. No, Allah is not unaware of anything. Allah didn't let anything slide. Yes, maybe you made tawbah and Allah accepted your tawbah and He forgave you for it. But the one who is just okay with the sin, don't think that Allah just let it go by. Allah is unaware. And wallahi, it's better that you receive the punishment for it in the dunya and not in the akhirah. It's better. But if you make that your de facto understanding, that every time I commit a sin, I know there's a punishment for it. Believe that about that and understand it. From amongst the different punishments that come for sins, there's many of them. We'll list a few. Okay? From amongst them is that it deprives you of taqwa. From the punishment that comes from sins. And that might not sound like a big thing to somebody, right? But imagine all of the things that Allah promises the muttaqeen in the Quran. That Allah is with them, with His help and His, right? Allah promised He will provide for those who have taqwa. All of these things that Allah promised for those muttaqoon, if you are deprived of taqwa because of your sins, all of that stuff is no longer promised for you. Right? You lose that. For amongst the sins or the punishments of sins is that it decreases your money, your wealth. People are always trying to figure out new ways to make money and increase their wealth, right? People go to school for 15 years or whatever to be able to find a way to make wealth. From the easiest ways to increase your risk is to have obedience to Allah. Pray Fajr, Isha in the masjid, right? Have taqwa of Allah. Allah promised you, وَمَن يَتَقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Allah promised that if you have taqwa, that He will provide for you. There's no doubt about it. From amongst the punishments that come with sins is that it takes your intellect away. You no longer are able to perform as intelligently as you were before. Why? Because sins are what? Does anyone know what sins are? Who knows? Not you young guys. MashaAllah. May Allah bless you. One day you'll be ulama. The older guys. What is sins? Do you know what sins are? Huh? Okay, I'll give you an example. Light is obedience. Obedience is light. So that means that sin is what?
Darkness.
Darkness. No, but darkness. The same way that obedience brings light to your heart. It brings light to your face. It brings light to your life. Then in the same way, sins brings darkness to your heart. Darkness to your face. Darkness to your life. So much so that some of the ulama, the pastors, say that this darkness is not just a, what is this thing? It is not a, what does it mean when it's not physical? How do you say like not physical? It's not like a spiritual darkness. It's actual physical darkness as well. Meaning that your whole life becomes dark. You can't see anymore what is good for you. Allah, He promised that the one who forgets Allah, Allah promised to make them forget themselves. Right? Meaning they will no longer be able to find that which is good for them in this life in the akhirah. Rather, they'll see that as being bad. They'll see that as being difficult to do. They'll see waking up for Fajr and praying in the masjid to be the most difficult of things in their life. But if they get a job that tells them to wake up at 5:21 on the dot, 5:21 in 30 seconds, they will wake up at 5:21 in 29 seconds without a shadow of a doubt. Right? But Allah tells them to come pray Fajr. Fajr is like, the adhan is at, what does it say here? 5:30. And then the mercy of our brothers and the way that Allah has given us, they say, okay, the Iqamah will be a half hour after that. And then you'll have some people that'll wake up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and pray Fajr and say, oh, what type of success will you get in your life? How can that person think that he's smart? Where Allah Ta'ala says, Hayya ala al-falah. Right? Come to success. Who's the liar? You or Allah? You, exactly. How can Allah be a liar? Right? You say, how many people they're watching, subhanAllah, I've realized that Instagram, right, has become what they say, the Bible for success, right? Everyone is looking to Instagram and all these different places for all these different one-line quotes, right? Our sisters are very good at it, mashallah. They find these one-line quotes, two-line quotes, 30-second reels, right? That success, minds, all that type of stuff, right? It says, oh, do, and you'll be successful, right? And then everyone's always quoting them. Mashallah, did you see this one right here that says, like, I have to, run 5 miles and jump through 3 horses and I'll be successful in life. That's the, But Allah already told us, Hayya ala al-falah. One line quote from Allah. Come to success. Right? Nobody listens to that. Nobody sees that as being the recipe for success. The recipe for success is already in Islam. You don't need anyone else to tell you what to do for success. Allah said, come to exactly. Look at the word that Allah used. Success. And you hear this every day. And instead of coming to success, you go to your destruction. And then you later on say, I'm on my grind. I'm trying to become successful, man. Right? That's what people say. I'm working hard. I'm trying to get this money. No, you'll be broke. Wallahi, you'll be broke. There's no lie. If you cannot pray salat on time, right? Simple. It's only 5 salawat a day. You know what they say the key for success is? If you ask all the people that you guys like to listen to instead of Allah, right? Ask any successful person that you like to listen to besides Allah, right? Think of anyone. Somebody tell me someone who you think is successful. Who?
Allah.
Yeah, Allah is above success, yeah. Come on, some of you guys in the back who have a favorite person that you know who you like to listen to. Come on, all right, start calling names. Come on, you're right in front of me, mashallah. Tell me someone who's successful to you. Yeah, you.
Bakar, stop.
You don't know any successful people? MashaAllah, you're a sucker. I don't want to hear. أنا سألته يعني أخبرني عن شخص يعني موفق هو قال أبي.
Somebody who's driving a dark turning left, blocking someone. I needs to go out. So they're missing. Dodge just CC. Anybody knows who's driving? Dodge? Yeah. Okay. Barakallah. Sorry.
So, someone else, give me someone who's successful that you might, off the top of your head, that all of us know, right? Tell me somebody, go ahead. Who? Bill Gates, Kafir. Okay. Someone else, tell me someone else successful. Who? Go ahead. Tell me someone. Who? Another Kafir. So, tell me someone successful. Ustadh. Someone successful. Who? Mansa Musa? MashaAllah, I accept this one.
I know this one. I know.
Go ahead, tell me someone successful. Allah. Who? Who? MashaAllah, barakallahu feekum. Okay, so anyway, my point is this, right? Seriously, right? Okay, if we think of somebody like Bill Gates, realistically, we think of someone like Bill Gates. Yes, in the dunya for sure he's successful, without a shadow of a doubt. If you ask these type of people, right, what is one of the most important keys to success? You will almost always find agreement on one thing: discipline. Discipline. But Islam already gave us this. We're just not disciplined. We act like crazy people. We follow our desires. We chase after the sins. Some of the same sins that Islam tells us not to do, you'll listen to some of these people in motivational talks and things tell you not to do it, and you'll think it's rocket science after you say, whoa, what is that? MashaAllah, he gave such a great speech. And the Muslim is listening, he says, whoa, man, Allah told us this already. All of this stuff Allah told us. But you know why? It sounds different when it comes from your favorite kafir? Because you're impressed by them. You're impressed. You're impressed because of what it seems that they're successful and how much dunya they have. So when you hear from your favorite kafir, you say, whoa, I never heard that before. And you repost it and everything, right? Everyone likes it 1.5 times, right? But Allah told you, hayya ala al-falah. And you can't even like that one time. How do you like that hayya ala al-falah? Does anyone know how you like it? How do you like that? How do you put a like next to hayya ala al-falah? You have to come. There's no other way to like that. You build your discipline by liking it where it needs to be liked. As Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he said, pray where you hear it called from. Right? You hear hayya ala al-falah? Because this word hayya ala al-falah, realistically, can you hayya ala salah and hayya ala al-falah in your room? No, you can't, because hayya means what? Means come. Where did you go? Nowhere. You stood in your room and prayed. You didn't go. You didn't move. And you said, yes, I responded. No, you didn't respond. Simple things, right? Sometimes we make the deen to be rocket science, but it's very simple. Islam tells us to do something, we do it. Why? Because that's where our true success is. So one of the things, going back to the topic, one of the things that happens when you start to chase after your sins and desires, you lose your intellect and you lose the ability, you lose the light that comes along with obedience. And your whole life becomes darkness, and you start to see that which is good as being bad. And you see that which is bad as being good. And you're lost in a sea of darkness. When you are stuck in sins, is that the Prophet ﷺ told us, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." Whoever imitates the people, he's from amongst them. What does that mean in regards to sins? For the sins that we commit, there are people who preceded us in those, right? If, for an example, you want to be someone who abuses the people and oppresses the people, and you have a lot of, kibr with you, then you are imitating the way of the people of Fir'aun, right? And his people. taking the people's rights unjustly. You're imitating Fir'aun. And Allah, we know how they destroyed Fir'aun. If you want to rob the people unjustly and cheat them slyly, right? Then in this type of thing, you're imitating the people of who? No, not Fir'aun, right? Hud, right? Then, may Allah protect a person today, may Allah protect you young people, may Allah protect you, Allah. If you feel that it's okay to be with the same sex, right? You're imitating the people of Lut. And you are from them is what it means, right? Because now Allah told us that whoever imitates the people from amongst them. If you do their sin, then you're like them. You'll be raised on Yawm al-Qiyamah, not under the banner of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You'll be raised on Yawm al-Qiyamah under the banner of whoever you imitated. Right? You want to be raised up with the people who were with Lut? No. You want to be raised up with the people who were with Fir'aun? The people who were with, robbing the people at the time of Hud or Salih or any of these people? Think about every time that you read stories of different people in the Quran, Allah is not telling you those people to be a history book. He's telling you it so that you don't become like them and then be like them. Do you understand what that means? That you don't do their same crime and then you end up being like them and get the same punishment like them. Okay? So pay attention to this. Now, when a person starts to think about committing a sin, there's steps that happen. It doesn't just happen right away. And they teach you this in psychology. Right? It's very important. But Islam already taught us this, alhamdulillah. So I really want you guys to have izzah in your deen. That everything that people are studying in psychology and our people have already given us this, right? So they said there's steps that happen when a person wants to commit a sin. The first thing is that a person starts to have thoughts. It comes in his head. He said, well, it would be nice to do that. Right? No one wants to commit a sin and they don't think it's going to be fun. You think it's going to be fun or it's going to be fun or you're going to get some type of enjoyment from it. So the first thing that comes is the thought. Why is it important to understand that? These 5 things I'm going to tell you, why is it so important to understand? Does anyone know why? You can cut it off. Thank you. So let's say you start to have the thought. If you can save yourself here, anta muwaffaq. You're successful, alhamdulillah. If you can stop yourself when the thought comes, you say, oh no, astaghfirullah, that's terrible. Why should I want to do that type of thing, right? Alhamdulillah. But after the thought comes into the head, there comes what? Does anyone know? Anyone hear this before? No, before there's about 5 steps. MashaAllah, you're a very intelligent young man, but not desire yet. There's something right before desire. Waswas. So after you have the thought, now shaitan and maybe even some other outside forces will come and start to glamorize that sin. One of the worst ways of waswas today is the music that the people listen to, the friends that they have, right? Because Allah told us that the shayateen are from what? Min al-jinnati wan nas. Don't think that it's only the shaitan. Some of your friends are shayateen for sure. You don't want to know? Some of you have friends that are pure shayateen. That if you don't get away from them, they're going to destroy you. Right? And you might be the shaitan amongst your friends. Don't doubt that either. Don't think that, don't look and say, oh no, Abdullah is you. I know you're a shaitan. No, it might be you. You might be the shaitan from amongst your friends. Check yourself too. Say, am I the one that's always coming up with these ideas to tell people to do weird stuff? Right? Let me check myself, right? So, you say, okay. First, we said what? It's the thought. Then the waswas. That either be from yourself, or your shaitan, or your shaitan friend, right? That's saying, oh, we should do this. Or, and that can come from them not telling you to do it, but also, as we mentioned earlier, encouraging you when you do it. Liking it when you do it, right? How many of you, subhanAllah, I'm going to ask you guys, don't tell me, but ask yourself this question, right? Especially our sisters, barakallahu fikunna, right? I'm going to ask you guys this question. When you know that you're doing something wrong, and the best example I can come up with is, the sins that you do publicly. And because you do it publicly, we know about them. So I'm going to talk about the sins we know about, right? You get on your phone and you go to Snapchat, Instagram, whatever it may be, right? And you post a picture, wallahi, you knew it was haram before you did it, right? You don't need me to tell you that that's haram. You don't need your brother to tell you it's haram. You don't need Sheikh Shah to tell you it's haram. You don't need none of that. You knew it was haram before you did it. Right? Am I right? And you posted anyway because you swore by Allah I look so good. Right? I gotta show the world how good I look in this haram picture. So you post this picture up on your Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, right? And then here comes your sister Amatullah. And she likes it and she says, fire, right? Whatever you guys do, right? Look at the words you say. Jahannam. You telling a person they look like Jahannam. Meaning that's where you're going. May Allah protect you. So she puts it and she puts fire, extra fire, right? Like you're extra blazing in Jahannam. So subhanAllah, look how the shaitan plays us. So then you say fire. And you're like, mashallah, yeah, they like. And then whoever doesn't like your picture, you say, oh, they're a hater. You say, then somehow, I know somebody told me recently that there's a way to view who saw your thing but didn't say nothing or something like this, right? I don't know. So then they go and they check to see, 50 people saw it, but they didn't say it, they didn't like it. And you start to see who it was. Oh, Amatullah saw my picture, didn't say I was fired. Oh, she's a hater, I'm a blocker, right? But she might have been the only real sincere friend you had. That when she saw it, she made dua that Allah guides you and takes you away from this evil. Same thing to the boy, right? What do we say for these guys, right? Sometimes, I don't know. They're just as bad, but they have the boys have a little bit of a trick with it because they'll do it with a camise on, or whatever, or like some tight clothes or whatever they do. But it's still the same thought that comes from it, right? It's the same thought process that happens. Even though the girl, she's haram because she's being with the barrija, right? But the guy, he's also, he might go on her page and say, mashallah. Right? Like he tries to, religify his flirting. So he says, oh, mashallah, tabarakallah, ukhti. Right? My sister, mashallah, may Allah bless you. It's the same thing. It's shayateen. When you do this for each other, you're like shayateen. Right? Do you want to be someone who encourages another Muslim to do that which Allah hates? I don't know. But if you say, yeah, this is not good. They say, oh, you're a hater. You just wish you looked as good as me. Seriously, this is sickness. This is a disease of the heart. That we think that it's like, there's no problem with it. But it's a real disease. Why? Because of the waswas. That's the next step to the sin. The third step that comes after that is irada. Now, you've already thought about it. You've been pumped up about it, right? You've been pumped up. People have told you, yo, you're going to do it. Now the desire is there in your heart. You say, I got to do it. Now you start to really want it now. And you start to plan, to think about how can I do it? How can I do it and get away with it? Right? Because that's what we're always thinking about, how to get away with it. To get away with it from who, though? Huh? Who are you trying to get away with it from? Because you can never escape Allah. So who are you trying to get away with it from? Who? Somebody tell me. Who are you trying to escape from? Who? No, Shaitan, he's already with you. He's in your back pocket at this time. The police? No, the police, the police are not going to get you that fast. You know that. Relatives? Not just parents, yes. People. People, whether it be relatives, your parents. We fear at times people more than we fear Allah. Because Allah sees you. There's no escaping Allah. But you're afraid that, the angel is going to see you when they're at the mall with that guy or whatever. Right? How about it? She saw me. Right? That's what you're looking for. You're always looking for, you're telling your friends, maybe you have a friend up there, look for Somali people. There's nobody there? Okay, we can go. No. Allah saw you. Seriously, Allah saw you. So now we have what? Who remembers what the steps are? What is it? Thought. Waswas. Desire. After this comes azima. After desire, now mind you, the point behind all of these are what? If you can notice these 4 or 5 things, you can stop yourself in the process. You say, I'm at the irada part right now. I better stop myself before I get to azima. Right? Because after azima means what? No, not done, but it's you're fully determined. Azima means that your mind is set. And the only thing between you and this now is the opportunity. You've already thought about it. You've bigged it up in your head. Huh? You desire it. The azima is that I am going to do it. You're at a point now where Allah may still give you a sin because if you don't stop yourself, remember we say that a person could get a sin for a niyyah, right? That he did because he never chose not to do it. He wanted to do it. The only thing that stopped him was the opportunity, right? He went out of the house to go do Khadar or Khadar, right? And what stopped him from doing it? He got hit by a car. If he didn't get hit by a car, he would have done it. Does that make sense? So that's azima. Azima is at that point where soon as the opportunity comes, I'm doing it. Nothing's going to stop me, right? And then now, the last of them all is the actual action. The actual action. That soon as the opportunity comes, that person's going to do the action. So there's 5 steps that's going to happen. Action is the last one. Azima, the determination, the actual full intention. Number 3, backwards we're going, was the desire to do it. Then the waswas and the thought. Stop yourself before you get to azima. You have to try your best to stop yourself before you get to azima. Because azima is destruction. Because now the only thing that's between you and that is the determination. Is the opportunity. And once the opportunity comes, you're doing it. That's what azima leads to. So, and continuing there, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned over 30 different punishments that can come to a person for committing a sin. Right? Whether it be now or later. Inshallah, as we ask, we hope that some of the brothers will take the opportunity to read this. It doesn't need except reading to see what these different punishments are. What are the different things? But the most important thing to remember always is that for a sin to occur, when there's a sin that occurs, there's a punishment that's going to come with it. Don't ever put your trust in thinking that Allah is just so merciful. Oh, another one I want to mention, right? Before we stop. Ada?
Yeah, the habit.
Oh, the habit? Yeah, this is another thing that we're going to mention, inshallah, is that what happens is that when a person starts to commit a sin, let's say he committed the sin. Now he actually did it. The first time he does the sin, he will hate it. He said, he'll have regret. Oh, subhanAllah, I did this stuff. Allah, may Allah forgive me. Right? Then let's say he goes back, he does it again. And then he does it again. He does it again. Eventually, he'll no longer fear if anyone even sees him anymore. He becomes addicted. He won't care who sees or hears or talks about him anymore. And at least when a person still has that fear of people seeing him, there's still hope. Because the sin done in private is not like the sin done in public. The sin done in public is the one that Allah, the Prophet ﷺ told us that the mujahideen, they won't be forgiven. The one who does a sin in public, and then the next day he goes and talks about it to everyone. He says, oh, you don't know what I did yesterday. He says, no, I don't know it. And you're going to tell me, aren't you? And he tells him. Now this person is like, he took the covering that Allah has given him, and that Allah has hid it, and now he let it be known to everyone. Worse today is when people, they get on these different social medias today, and they show everyone what they did. Oh, right? But now after this comes addiction, as it mentions, that now the person is so addicted to the sin that he can almost not stop unless Allah intervenes and saves him from his own stuff. But he's in such a port that he cannot get out of it. He doesn't even care who sees him or talks about it. Everyone is talking about him doing da-da-da-da-da. He can't care. He's so addicted to the sin. That is utter destruction for a person. This person is almost completely destroyed. And the last thing that I was going to mention was that the way, again, to stop yourself from the beginning is righteous companionship. Choose your friends wisely. Choose friends that are not going to support you when you're doing evil. Choose friends who are going to tell you that you're completely wrong for the evil you're doing. I cannot stress to you all enough what it means to choose your friends wisely. Because you can either have friends that you'll have fun in the akhirah together, in Jannah, or you have friends as well. Don't forget that the fire is full of friends. Jahannam is full of people who thought they were friends. So may Allah protect us all from being amongst those type of people who will fall into the fire with our so-called friends. And may Allah make us amongst those who enter into Jannah with our family and our friends and our loved ones in the company of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the blessed companions with one Allahu alayhim ajma'een. As I said again, we cannot cover the whole book. No doubt about it. I hope that inshallah Allah allows this to be an introduction for us. The book is translated to English as well. You want to find it in English? I don't remember what the topic is. I think it's called The Disease and the Cure in English. You can search it up. PDFs are available of it also. You can search it in English. Read it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Some ulama, some of our shuyukh, they say that this book, if the youth and the shabab and the people, they read this book, it will be a cure for the different diseases of the heart that are plaguing the people today. So we encourage you all to read it as much as possible, to benefit, share it as much as possible, so that it can be an assistance for those people who are stuck in the same type of evil that the questioner was asked about. هذا وصلى الله عليه وسلم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. If there's questions, we'll take questions. Questions that are regarding to the book and not regarding the book. Any questions, inshallah. We don't have this opportunity often, so we'll take any questions that a person may have today, inshallah. You can write the question down too, if it's something that you don't want to, for the sisters specifically too. If there's a question that you don't, of course you need to write it down. Write the question, send the question, inshallah, and we'll take the questions. Now.
What is our youth's obligation or responsibility as Muslims towards the LGBTQ and what they see at their school?
Towards the L who? Oh, these guys. I'm really sad for you guys. I live in a country where we don't have this problem, alhamdulillah. Even the Christians in Ethiopia don't despise the LGBT. Wallahi, I'll tell you, quick, right? You know how unnatural and how evil it is when even the kuffar hate them other places. The only place that this is allowed is America type of, there's no such thing as they say, what is this thing, equality, what is the word they say to them, justice or something like this? Huh?
Freedom.
Freedom or whatever that thing is, right? Even the kuffar in other countries don't accept this. So why as Muslims, right, when we're supposed to be the best of the people everywhere in the world, why do we think we have to accept them? Explain this to me. Somebody tell me why should we accept them when even the kuffar in other countries don't accept them? Right? Okay. There's nothing that tells us that we have to accept them, especially not in Islam. So what is our obligation in regards to them Islamically? Is to hate their actions. To hate, pay attention to what I'm telling you. Hate their actions. Can you hate them specifically? Yes and no. Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned in another book that when you see a person that's falling into sin, you should look at them with 2 eyes, right? One eye is out of sadness for them of what Allah is testing them with. And the other eye is out of disgust for what they're falling into. So you have to realize that a person is a human, that we all have sins, for sure. But just because you're a human and you have a sin doesn't mean that you have to be my sinful friend. Right? I don't want to hang around the Muslims that are sinful. I definitely don't want to hang around the kuffar that are this sinful. Right? So the obligation that the Muslim has to them is to get away from them. His obligation is to get away from them. As Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions a chapter in his Sahih, Al-Bab min ad-din al-firar min ad-din al-firar min al-fitn. Right? Our obligation is to stay far away from that which is disgusting and evil. Right? So as a Muslim youth, I can't be cool with a person who does that. Right? Why? Because, number one, it's evil. I don't want to be associated with the people of Lut. Right? Imagine what happened to Lut's wife. You remember what happened with Lut's wife? Does anyone know what happened to her? Right? Except for his wife, she's got to be amongst us destroyed too. Why? Was she gay? Was she a homosexual? But she was cool with them. She was cool with them. That was their homie. She was a homie with them. Like, yo, that's my peoples. Like, you know, you guys say, oh, I got a gay friend. How can you have a gay bitch? How can you have a gay friend? Especially as a boy. You know, subhanAllah, imagine this as a boy, right? To say that's my gay homie. Like, does that even make sense? Like, you tell me that if I saw you with a gay guy and said, no, that's just my gay friend, I'm going to swear you're gay. You're not going to be able to tell me you're not gay. You say, oh, no, something's wrong with you. We don't have gay friends. What does that mean, even to have a gay? Oh, he likes boys, but he's my friend. So, I mean, does it even make sense? Do you see how weird that sounds? He likes boys, but no, we don't do that. He knows our boundaries. We have a boundary not to cross. No, you've already crossed the boundary. And you don't even realize that he's already in your home. And you tell him, that's my friend. Same thing for girls. And wallahi, the most disgusting thing is that the girls think of it to be less. Like a gay guy, everyone's like, oh, he's a gay guy. You know, he's a homosexual. But girls, for some reason, they believe, and here goes the weird part, I'll tell you. Girls today, they want to be feminists, right? Everyone knows about feminism, right? Everyone thinks they want to be feminists. But they're only feminists when it benefits them, right? If it benefits them, then they, girl power, right? All that crazy stuff. But when we say, okay, homosexuality is homosexuality, whether it's gay or lesbianism, right? They like to think that lesbianism is like a little less gay than the other gay, right? Like a gay girl is not as bad as a gay guy. No, they're both looties. There's no difference between a gay girl and a gay guy. All of them are destroyed. You get what I'm saying? Gay girl, gay guy, it's all the same. So for a girl to say, oh, that's my lesbian friend, it's the same thing as a guy having a gay friend. It's horrible. It's not allowed in Islam. Do you understand what we say like this? Okay, now, we live in a culture where, you guys live in a culture where it's almost promoted and acceptable. Okay, cool. Does that mean I have to do it? Drinking alcohol is allowed in this country, correct? Does it mean you have to do it? No. Does it mean you have to like people who drink alcohol? No. So what's the difference? I don't know. Exactly. Okay, you're gay. That's your problem. I don't have to like you. And I don't like you, right? But at the same time, we have to be smart. It doesn't mean I have to go and tell you I don't like you, right? I'm going to stay in my place, you stay in your place. Let's not mix water, right? You do your thing, I'm going to do my thing over here. We don't have to be friends and we will not be friends. But I'm not an idiot. I'm not stupid. I know I live in the United States of America. So I'm not going to tell you that you're a stupid gay person, right? Even though I believe this about you. No, seriously. Even everything you believe, you don't have to say. Be smart about what you do. You know, the Muslim, as Ibn Taymiyyah says, the Muslim is, he has a strong intellect. You know you live in a country that will, make life very difficult for you if you say something about a gay person. Right? That's the fitna that you live in today. But be smart. And say, okay, I'm going to be over here. They come over here where you're at, you just walk away. You don't have to say anything. Right? Stand your ground. Be a Muslim. Right? And don't be afraid. If they cannot be afraid to do something that's so weird, why are you afraid to be a Muslim? Today is realistically, to me, I would say today is the most easiest time to be a Muslim, look like a Muslim, and dress like a Muslim. Who's going to say something funny about you going to school wearing a kameez when boys are wearing types of weird dresses? Who can say something to you? Nobody. This is freedom. Tell them I'm free like everybody else. Use your rights properly. That's what I say. So back to the thing, the obligation of the Muslim to stay far away from them. The Muslim youth should stay far away from those evil people. Stay as far away from them as possible. There's no such thing that you say, oh, I want to be nice to them. No, be nice to yourself first and stay away from them. No, you have a question? Oh, okay.
Once you get addicted to the sin, and is this a sickness of the heart too? Would you expound upon that? Because once you're addicted to sin, that's the blackness of the heart, no?
Yeah, but just because the heart has addiction, and it doesn't mean that it's dead. There's levels of addiction, right? And there's levels of sin. The person whose heart is completely black, the light of the remembrance doesn't enter anymore. How do you know if your heart is completely black or not? you're not motivated to do any khair anymore. At least the person, he doesn't even feel about repenting anymore. He doesn't even think about it. It doesn't come to him. Or he makes what they say the fake repentance. He says, astaghfirullah, 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 right? And doesn't even think about actually stopping the sin. That's when the difference is. You know, when a person repents and he says, astaghfirullah, Allah forgive me, and he stops. You know, he really has intention to stop. But then he falls short again and falls into the sin. But he had a real intention, oh Allah, help me stop this. And it means he regrets it. This person still has life in his heart. When the person, he commits the sin, he no longer even cares. That's when the person's heart is dead. He doesn't even care anymore when he does the sin. He doesn't even think about repenting. And when if he did think about repenting, he doesn't think about stopping doing the sin. He just wants to repent and say that, oh, I did make tawbah. But no thought of stopping the sin comes into his head.
Is there forgiveness for that person?
Of course. There's always forgiveness until death. If that person can be awakened by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then of course there's forgiveness for him. Is what?
Somebody asked me to tell you.
The ruling in regards to tasweer, right? The ulama, they differ in regards to the issue, realistically. And it's a long issue. That's not for tonight.
Jazakallah khair, barakallah.
What if you're drawing a picture and you draw eyes?
This is haram. Without shadow of a doubt. Drawing a picture, you draw eyes. There's no difference of opinion in regards to this being haram. No.
But most people drink alcohol and smoke just to be cool. That's cool.
Most people drink alcohol. I don't know what people you're talking about. My people don't do that. But he said most people drink alcohol and smoke just to be cool. You know, I know a lot of cool cats that don't do that, man. So you gotta find new friends. The Muslims are cool to me. I don't think people who drink alcohol and smoke are cool. To me, I think they're fools. So, you know, if they think they're cool, maybe. And if they think they're cool, then you know, again, find different friends. If you find people who think that stuff is cool, then don't be around them. It's simple. You know, it's very easy to just tell a person, I don't want to be your friend. Simple.
I know some Muslim brothers act gay, but they say it's just a joke. Right?
Huh?
I know some Muslim brothers act gay, but they just say it's just a joke. I don't know.
Oh, Muslim brother acts gay. Well, alhamdulillah, in Islam, we have punishment for people who like to act gay too. You know? Let them keep acting gay, and then we can give them the punishment they deserve as well. You know, in Islam, there's two types of punishments in Islam, okay? There's the punishment for the person who does a hudud, you know, meaning like they commit a crime that has a law stipulated for it, right? And that person, the hudud, you know, does anyone, I don't know if I should, but there's laws, right, that I have to make the flight, you know? I want to get stopped at the, can you call me for this question? There's rules that Islam has put that if you do this, you get this punishment, right? The punishment for the one who commits homosexual acts in Islam actually does it, right? This person is killed in Islam, right? In an Islamic country with an Islamic law, all that stuff. Not here in America, right? Now, in Islam, there's also something called ta'zir, meaning that there's no law for what you're doing, but we can get you because of it. You know, the ruler will beat you because of it, right? Something like that. Acting gay was something that you should be beat for. You know, you're acting gay. Why? Meant to set up a coma for women whom. Okay, you might not have done it, but we should beat you. Why? To make you not want to even think about doing it. And also to make everyone around you see how bad it is. And if you want to do it again, beat you again. Right? You should be beaten. Why? Because this is foolishness. Why would you want to act like a homosexual? There's nothing cool about that. You know, subhanAllah, like, you know, even animals are not that stupid. You know, how can you be stupider than an animal? Does that even make sense? No, it doesn't make sense at all. No.
I heard about these people, but I'm not sure who they really are. The
People of what? The people of what again?
something like this.
Oh, como tubba. What do you want to know about them? There were people who were destroyed. I don't remember their sin right now. But there were people that were, a messenger was sent to them, and they were destroyed for their crime. What it was right now, it slipped my head. Now,
What advice would you give to the youngsters who like to imitate the kuffar and like rappers and like some stuff like that?
good question. What advice do you give to the youngsters who like to imitate the kuffar and the, like rappers and stuff like that? You know, all of that happens. All of that is because of them being impressed by these guys. I would say that you guys have to be cooler than them. You know, like look, you don't know our brother Abu Huzaifa is one of the coolest cats ever around, man. If you want to learn how to be cool, come talk to him. You know how to be cool as a Muslim, man. You guys are impressed by people who are nobodies. You know, that's the problem. And if you're impressed by a nobody, it makes you like an extra nobody. You know, like you want to be a nobody. They have nothing. Their whole demeanor, everything is about being fake. These guys are just, fraudulent people. And that's why they have to do so much constantly. They have to wear a million chains, have a million cars. Why? Because they have no real self to be anyone. They're such a nobodies. So when you're like that, you always have to be extra. So if you have no self, then of course you're impressed by that. But if not, you'll be impressed by Abu Bakr and Umar or Uthman and Ali. Right? Read their stories. Read how they stood up. And if you have something in your heart of Izzah of Islam, you'll be impressed by these guys. Because and then at the same time, don't look at the backgrounds or biographies of these other guys. And what do they have to be impressed about? What do they have in reality? Tell me something. Somebody tell me something they have. Who's impressed by? Nobody's going to answer that question. Whoever is not impressed by a rapper, right? Tell me something that people who might be impressed by them have. What do they have? Anybody know anything they have? You said money? Well, they might. Fame? You know who's famous? Fir'aun. Guess where he's at? Jahannam. Right? He's famous. You know what he's famous for? Us cursing him. La'natullah alayhi. Famous. Right? Whenever we say his name, we can curse him. Is fame what we need in life? Is that going to bring you happiness? What else? Huh? What else do they have?
Interrupt you another minute.
No.
Anybody who's driving a Camry, kind of get a greenish Camry in the sidewalk here for the garage, Amin's garage.
We have what Allah promised.
You just move it.
Allah promised them the best in this life because they put nothing forward to the hereafter.
It's true. Allah promised the best in this life because they're not going to get nothing in the next life. That's 100% true. So let them enjoy that. Now, in regards to a Muslim who's impressed by them, they need the actual remedy for them is to make istighfar. A lot of istighfar. Why? Because being impressed by the kuffar is a sin in itself. Remember that, right? Being impressed by the kuffar because of their kufr and their disobedience and their sins is a sin in itself. You need to make tawbah and istighfar for that in itself. There's nothing in us that should be impressed by what the kuffar have of disobedience to Allah. That means that in reality you're impressed by their disobedience to Allah. And you need to make tawbah and istighfar for this in itself. Okay, hey, pay attention, right? Pay attention. The question comes, the order in which you gave us for steps to committing a sin, is that in general or does it always go that way? It always goes that way. It always goes that way. Even, as I mentioned, even the psychologists stole this from Islam. It always goes that way. Now, will you sometimes not notice it? Yes, most of the time you won't notice it. When will you start to notice it? When you start to make yourself notice it. You have to practice it. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to say, oh, where am I? Oh, subhanAllah. Okay, let me backtrack this. Now, how does that happen? It takes time. It won't happen today. But over time, when you think about it, you say, okay, this is what's happening. So it always takes those 5 steps. Always takes that direction. Sometimes it might seem like it skips 1 or 2. It's just that you weren't paying attention. The next question, if you have a homosexual friend Isn't it better to try and guide them than turning them away? There's certain sins that are, what is that thing? Like they said COVID was what? What's that thing called? No, but what does it mean like you can catch it? Contagious. There are certain sins that are contagious. Realistically, most sins are contagious, right? Meaning that if my friend does it, it's more likely that I will too. That's why the Prophet ﷺ told us, Al-maru ala dini khalili. The person is upon the religion of his close friend. If you have a friend that is a bank robber, 9 times out of 10 you're a bank robber too. You know, whether you want to admit it or not. Right? Or if you're not a bank robber today, you're going to be a bank robber tomorrow. Right? Especially if your friend is telling you, you're hanging out. Guess what happens? Your friend likes basketball. You're going to try basketball at least once. Right? You're going to say, maybe I can play this thing too. And then if you find out you don't like it or you're not good at it, then you might stop. But normally, the normal way that things happen in life is that if your friend is doing it, you're going to want to do it too. One way or another. Or at least experiment, as they say. Right? You ever heard of this? People say, oh, I experimented with being gay. How do you experiment with that? That's not an experiment. Who made you a scientist? You know, now you're making experiments. No, you don't experiment with any type of sin. Right? So, your friend is a homosexual? 9 times out of 10, you have some type of homosexuality going on with yourself too. Realistically, I'm not being, because Allah tells us in the Quran, and we say this dua, oh Allah, make us hate sin and kufr wal fisq. We want to hate it. Allahumma habib ilayhi al-iman wa kara ilayhi al-kufr wal fisq wal isyan. Right? We ask Allah to make iman beloved to us. And we ask him to make us hate what? Kufr wal fisq wal isyan. So if you're okay with your homosexual friend, even that word bothers me, friend, right? It means that you have an okayness with that. Somewhere in your heart, whether you recognize it or not, you're okay. Me, I'm disgusted by it. May Allah keep me this way, right? Where we don't do that, But if you're okay with it, it's because there's something in your heart. And you need to check that. Because soon that disease will take over your heart. So, no, don't try to be the doctor for everyone. And one of the tricks of shaitan is that he makes you think that they need you to save them. And then eventually you fall into the plot. And shaitan is the best at doing this trick because he says, without you, they'll never be guided. People were being guided way before you came along. And people will be guided way after you come along. Don't think you are the only one in the dunya that can guide anyone. People will be guided without you, before you, after you, and whatever. Save yourself first. Save yourself first. No, you should not have a homosexual friend, and no, you should not be concerned with trying to guide them. If anything, send them a message from somebody else, but you don't be the one that's around them. This sin, subhanAllah, realistically is it eats up like a cancer. And before you know it, you have some type of evil with you also. So be very careful of this. Especially, I'm afraid, when it comes from the girls. Because the girls tend to take this lighter than boys do with that type of homosexual interaction. Girls, realistically, they think that it's okay for a girl to kiss another girl. We have to be serious about this, right? They think that's okay. No, that's homosexual. Boys don't have this same normally. I don't know today. But boys today don't have that normally where they say, oh, me and my friend, we just kissed. No, boys don't normally go do that. But girls, they'll say these type of things. That, I just kissed my friend. No, that's homosexual. Whichever way it starts, it ends the same way. Okay? My school allows gay men in the bathroom. What should we do? Come to Mr. Bilal's homeschool program. That's what you should do. My school allows gay. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. There's no other option. Wallahi, bid-durura. It becomes wajib. When our girls are no longer being able to be protected, it becomes a sin to send your daughter there. It was a sin before, but now it's even a worse sin because you know now that there may be men in the bathroom with your daughter. How do you even allow this? How do you allow this? I don't understand this, subhanAllah. Gay men or not gay men, there's men in the bathroom with your daughter. It becomes haram to send your daughter to the school. She has no privacy. Don't you know that the Prophet ﷺ cursed the woman who takes her clothes off where she may be viewed by other men, by men that's not her family member? So you're putting your daughter in, opening her up for the curse of Allah because you want her to get that degree? Allahumma salam. This question. Is it haram for a lady to not be in a polygamous marriage or ask for divorce because she can't control her jealousy? No, it's not haram for a woman to say she can't be in a polygamous marriage. It's not haram. It is not haram for her to say, I do not want to be in ta'addud. She knows herself. Do you know that during the time of the Prophet, but pay attention to something, right? And is it haram for her to ask for divorce? No. She can ask, but he doesn't have to say yes, right? You know, you got to be careful the question you ask. The question says, can she ask for divorce? Yes, but divorce is in the hand of the man. He can say no. No, I'm not divorced. I love you too much. You know, subhanAllah, we've been together for so long, I can never divorce you, right? He can say no. Now, the real question comes, can she say, I don't want to be in a polygamous marriage or whatever it may be? Yes, for sure. But now we have to look at something, right? Let's look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ. Do you know there was a tribe of people who the Prophet ﷺ never married into? Does anyone who know who they are?
Christians.
Oh yeah, Christians, of course. A famous tribe of people. The Prophet ﷺ had 13 wives, right? 11 at one time. There's a tribe of women that he never married from. Do you know who they are? Not the Kufar. A tribe of Muslim people. Very righteous Muslim people that we know. Bani who? No, not Bani Israel. He never married from the Ansar. Never. Not one of his wives were from the Ansar. And he said in the hadith, right? He told us, he said, there's something beautiful in the eyes of the woman from the Ansar. But the Prophet ﷺ said he never would marry from them because of their jealousy. So their jealousy, yes, they were never into ta'addud, right? But it deprived them from ever being the wives of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ. Now, know what you're asking for, ya akhawat. You think polygamy is bad? Isn't it worse to not be the wife of the Prophet ﷺ? Like, subhanAllah. I mean, if I was that means you're automatically in Jannah. You know? I mean, serious. But think about this. I mean, a wife of the Prophet ﷺ, automatic Jannah. You can't lose with that. So, today's time, is anyone here the Prophet ﷺ? No. But another realistic stat is this. That women outnumber men 10 to 1. Women outnumber men 10 to 1. So what eventually will happen is this. That there's only one man for every 10 women. So, and out of those one men, maybe only half of them are suitable for marriage. Because, or even less than that, because majority of that one is kafirs. Right? So maybe it's like not even 1% for Muslim women. So for every Muslim woman, every one Muslim man that's suitable for marriage, there might be like 20 Muslim women. So realistically, you can say, no, I don't want ta'addud. That's your preference. But you might be lonely for the rest of your life. You might never have a husband. You may be one of those 19 women that will never have a husband. That's realistically. Because you're so, I don't want ta'addud. Oh, not me. Okay, no problem, not bad. MashaAllah, stay home for the rest of your life. Cook and clean for your parents, and that's not a problem. But you'll never have a husband. Because there's too many women and too little men. So wake up. You choose if your jealousy is that bad to be lonely for the rest of your life. Realistically. The next question, is it good to regret a sin that you did for the rest of your life even though you regret? Regret is a good thing. There's no problem with regret. But you don't want that regret to turn into grief. That's the difference. Yes, regret is a good thing. Have regret for your sins. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu used to cry about sins he did before he was a Muslim. He used to cry about sins he did before he was a Muslim. So regret is a good thing. Just don't let that regret make you despair and say, oh, I'm never going to be forgiven. No, regret that I was ungrateful to Allah and I did that. But don't ever think that Allah will not ever forgive you once you stop doing the sin. Come on? Yes.
Is it like bad, for example, if someone like he had friends and they all had a lot of money and then his friends' money got stolen and
He said, Alhamdulillah. No, it's not bad. Okay, his question is, if a person had friends and they all had a lot of money, and then one of the friends' money got stolen, and when he saw that his money didn't get stolen, and when he saw that his friend's money got stolen, he said, Alhamdulillah. Is that bad? No, you should say Alhamdulillah. Every time the Prophet ﷺ instructed us, whenever we say Muslim, we say Alhamdulillah alladhi fadalina kathir mimman khalaqa tafdila. Right? Oh Allah, thank you. Alhamdulillah. Basically meaning that you didn't try me with what you tried many of the people you created with, right? Thanking Allah. So we should always thank Allah and be grateful to Allah when He doesn't afflict us with a calamity that someone else was afflicted with.
Is interest haram?
Yes, interest riba is haram. Yes.
Is there like a tactic to ignore like the annoying LGBTQ people? Like their voice is irritating.
Is there a tactic? You gotta stay away from it. You know, subhanAllah, today you have to be in a situation where you're smarter than your enemy. Be smart. Know where they're at.
They're like a fly, they'll follow.
Yeah, you have to get away from them. And the more that they know that you don't want. You know something, there's a rule that we used to have, right? When we were younger. When we were younger, you know, it wasn't cool to be gay. Now you guys are in a time where it's cool to be gay. We treated them as the way, right, and this rule will work for you guys too. Take this as a rule. Never open the door for a gay person. Treat them like vampires. If you open the door, they will come in and they'll never leave. It's just something that Shaitan has given them, this type of tactic, right? Don't open the door for them. Soon as you open the door to play with them and you make a joke with them or you do whatever with them, they'll think you're best friends forever. So just never be always serious with them. No, the teacher left the classroom. No, homework today is this. Never smile. Don't joke with them. Because once you joke with them, it's over.
But at our school, like, you know, the downstairs.
You guys you're too young to have this problem at your school. Man, Allah protect you. This is ridiculous. How old are you? Huh? 10? And you have this problem at your school at 10 years old?
Me and him go to the same school. Like, you know, the downstairs.
He said the LGBT people, they like to bother them.
He's talking about something different.
Oh, but he goes to the same school as him, and he's saying that they're bothering him.
I think you're talking about here?
No, it's school.
I'm talking about my school. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yes.
yeah, but you know, downstairs, the downstairs bathroom, how there's like a little gap between to the side. Like, there's gaps that you can
See through?
Yeah, like at our school, there's kids that look over the stalls and under the stalls. Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, like that's why like I use the bathroom.
They go to the other.
He said, now, and I want to repeat his question for the parents, more than just for him, right? For the parents to hear, right? He said that, what do we do when we go to schools and the schools have gaps under the bathroom stalls where you can see under, and children are like going under to see each other when they're using the bathroom?
Yeah, and there's gaps at the top.
Or at the top.
Yeah, people are go to the other stall and some other toilet and look at each other. Like, people phones, take videos. They stand on the toilet.
But if I like really use the I mentioned you know the big iron.
There's no answer for this question, you know, realistically. What can I give as an answer? There's no answer except you have to take your children out of these schools. I mean, really, there's no other answer for these questions besides that the children should not be going to these schools.
I'm going ahead. I
I don't remember. I don't know.
Just wanted to get clarified that it's okay to say alhamdulillah that Allah protected my money, but not say alhamdulillah that he
Oh, yeah. It's not alhamdulillah that his money got stolen and not mine. Yes. Is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency halal? You said haram? I don't know anything about it like that to say it's haram. From what I've heard about it. I know what it is. No, I know what it is, but I don't know the actual workings. I've heard some ulama say it's halal, and I've heard some say it's haram. But I don't know exactly what it is. I lean towards more that it's halal, because it doesn't seem anything clear for me that I know of that makes it haram. And Allah knows best. If it is what it seems to be, yeah. So the question was, what do you say about the Muslims that consider the kuffar to be their friends? The kuffar in the Quran, let's look at what Allah says, right? In the Quran, Allah only describes friendship, companionship, in these type of close words to be for the believers. For the kuffar, Allah only describes words of harshness, enemy, enmity. That's the only way that Allah describes them in the Quran. There's no other description for them in the Quran besides this. So if we understand that, friends, there are like 5 types. There's the Sadiq, right? The Sadiq is the one who he agrees with you when you're right and corrects you when you're wrong. The Rafiq is the one who is your friend only for a time, like on a travel. It's normally for traveling together. Then there's the Zamil, which is really what you guys are more considering. The Zamil is a person who works with you together. You guys at work, they're friends at work only. And after work, you don't know each other, right? But as far as somebody being a Sadiq for you, or a friend, a true friend, this can only be a believer. Because what kafir is going to tell you that you're wrong, that you're right for praying and doing all these other things, and you're wrong when you don't do the things supposed to do? They're not going to tell you that. If they do, they should be Muslim. Are we good? Any more questions?
Explain what helps use the bathroom.
You guys have Dixie 2 times. I'll tell you, right? I have one Sheikh, Sheikh Jalan. If you ask these type of questions in the class, he'll tell you that's not what my class is for. Go learn it, right? So, but which part about using it, so when a person uses it, what part of it? Well, when a Muslim uses the bathroom, the Muslim should, number one, should try to sit down when he uses the bathroom for the main purpose of what? That he doesn't allow urine to get back on his clothes. Urine getting on your clothes is one of the major sins. It doesn't sound like a major sin, but it is a kaba'ir. It's from the kaba'ir. Something that a person can be punished for in the grave. That urine gets on your clothes and you don't clean it. And the way that urine gets on your clothes is because of urinating while standing up. And, you urinate while standing up, and then urine gets on your clothes. And then as well, one of the most important things is that you make istinja. After using the bathroom, use water, right? And clean yourself, your private areas. Clean yourself. And then, after that, the rest is pretty clear, inshallah. Sometimes I refrain from doing good deeds out of fear that people will see me and I'm not 100% sure of my intentions. And whether I do these deeds partly to show off that I am a good Muslim. Is this a trick of shaitan to make me not do these deeds? And if so, how do I overcome this situation? How can I be sure that I'm sincere in what I do? Wallahi, if any of us were sure, we wouldn't do anything. If I was sure that I was not doing this to look like a good Muslim, I wouldn't sit here and talk. Realistically. All of us, as some of the Salaf used to say, the hardest thing to change is the intentions. And he said the thing I worked on the most when seeking knowledge was my intentions. The shaitan is always going to come to you and ask you and make you think that maybe you're doing it to show off. Maybe you're trying to show off by doing those, whatever good deeds you're doing. That in itself is a trick of shaitan. Oh, subhanAllah, I forgot one very important thing and it just reminded me. Hassan al-Basri, rahimahullah ta'ala, he used to say that if you do an action, right, pay attention. If you do an action to show off in front of people, this is riyah. And if you leave off an action because you're afraid of showing off to people, this is riyah. Both is riyah. So the way that you cure this is by do good deeds and do a lot of them and force yourself to think about Allah. Because if you don't do the good deed because you say, oh, people are looking at me, they're probably not even looking at you. But you think they're looking at you and you're doing it for them, that means that you did not do the deed. Why? Because of people looking at you. That's riyah. And if you do it with the intention of making people look at you, this is riyah also. So the cure for it is to do the good. And the part that I just remember when I thought about this question was that amr bil ma'ruf. A lot of people that say that, should I enjoin the good and forbid the evil when I'm not 100% good myself? They say, how can I enjoin the good and forbid the evil? I see sins happening around me, but I'm afraid to say something because I know I have my own sins. I just did this yesterday. No, the cure for this is to enjoin the good and forbid the evil. Why? The more you tell people to not do and you encourage them to do it, then inshallah Allah will make people to remind you as well. And it will also be a reminder for you. But it doesn't mean that you just do it, and you forget about yourself. No, also constantly try to rectify your own heart. Ask forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible, and ask Allah for istiqamah to make us all upon the way that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa nasal Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala istiqamah. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. We're ending now. We're going to make iqamah. It was beautiful to see you all. Barakallahu feekum. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us all firm upon Islam. يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك يا مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So we get these guys up to Salah. So stick around. No, you're not gonna make it.